versus New
we
England
are
Power
live
Raiders.
again.
Yeah. Hey, listen, mistakes happen. It's not when mistakes happen, it's how you rise above it, Mike. We're going to rise above it.
It's northeastern weather. We can blame it on that.
It's a northeastern. What do they call those winter? Northeastern. Nonetheless, we're live. Okay, so we're going to get into free agents real quick on our team. As you can see, it's going to be let me preface this. You guys are going to be depressed for the next 10 minutes. Okay. So let's just get out of our system. You're going to see the team, the players we have left. And then you're going to see that maybe, just maybe, all 12 draft picks are going to be used this year because we might need it.
I didn't think the free agency list was that depressing. There are teams with much better players leaving. But let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, we lost all of our viewers, but I do have the free agent list popped up. That's what happened. As soon as I clicked that, we just rolled out, apparently, which has never happened.
Boom.
But here we are. We're back.
We're back.
What a bummer that was. So I'll start it off, I guess. We're going with Winston, an undrafted free agent. We're going to start off in the quarterback realm of things here. Let him go or keep him?
Interesting. Jameis?
Yep. Guess who's
man, I think we should really pursue him, to be honest with you. I think he is what he is. We know what he is. But I think we need as many quarterbacks as possible on this team to fill out who is going to do what and who's going to be good. So I say keep him. Why not?
Chad, go ahead, man.
I don't expect them to keep him.
Yeah.
I like having him around. I think he was fun. I don't know if he would play. I mean, he had the same problems he's always had. I don't know if you tone that down by shifting the offense back to a better, more balanced, more functional offense. I would just say this, I would be excited as a fan if we kept him, but I would not be optimistic as just an NFL viewer that he is going to get us anywhere. So I don't expect him back though. I think they're probably going to look into some sort of a quarterback that they think there's a handful of quarterbacks in free agency available. I think they're going to look at who is going to be the cheapest that can do the most damage based on the system. So
I agree. I'd like to keep him for the team morale itself, the locker room buildup. But at the end of the day, I just don't think the Browns are going to keep him. That's my quick and easy one.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be sad to see him go, but I think I don't know if he would want to be here. I think he wants to go somewhere where he might play a little more or coach somebody. I think it would be good if they draft a quarterback. It would be good to have him because
I was going to say there's a good chance whoever plays here is going to play a little more because we don't even know who the quarterback is.
Now that I'm talking it out, I think it would make sense to keep him, especially if you draft a young quarterback. He even said that he would love to mentor somebody, but we'll see.
Next up, Bailey Zappi, restricted free agent. See ya.
Yeah, I don't even think we need to. Anybody?
He's a practice squad quarterback at this point, and he's probably not going to be signed by anybody right away. And if he does, he's just somebody that you're not expecting will even play.
Yep. The biggest and hardest one here, gentlemen, Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I think they will work something out. Now, that could be nice. I think he might work out here. I'm being more optimistic. I think you keep him especially if you get rid of Miles. If Miles gets traded, you kind of win the fans back if you bring in Chubb. Keep him here for another year or two, depending on the money situation. But if you're asking me, I would keep him because I think he still has a little bit left in the tank.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm going to go with give him at least one more year, just like we did last year. With something with incentives, maybe a possible contract that could help him out. He's coming off of a broken foot that didn't need surgery. I think that was looking up for him. He was starting to show his his strengths again towards the end of the year, before the injury, obviously. But I say one more year at Nick Chubb, see what happens, and go from there.
That's probably about right. I mean, I would say from a rehab perspective, he's probably already recovered from that broken foot, most likely. He's probably already working out already, and I expect he'll be better next year than he was last year. So I think it will be maybe a 1+1, like a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Incentive based more than anything, low kind of vet minimum incentive based contract, so that if he comes back and stays healthy, he gets some money. And if he doesn't, he's not that big of a burden on the cap. 2
comments, and this one's towards you, Chad. James Frank says, keep Nick Chubb. I'm saying this as a total fan. Jen says, I'd love to keep Nick Chubb. Colton says, I would keep Chubb because it gets 100% healthy again. He brings a lot back to the offense, which we're hoping for, but you never know. He's getting older as well, so things could change. Let's see here. We got Nyheim Hines with a giant question mark. That just should be a giant question mark. It shouldn't be a giant question mark. It should be like, see you, dude. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Hines has never been on this team, and he'll never be on this team.
Right.
He's next.
Yeah. Foreman, a free agent. Yeah. See ya.
He didn't do anything for us. He's pretty much as old as Chubb. He's injured.
I do want to say the Browns already cut Nyheim Hines.
So our list is bunk.
It dropped an hour ago.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah,
that was easy.
I know. I saw that. I saw that when you guys said Nyheim Hines. It reminded me. I'm like, I think they cut him already. Yeah, so he's cut.
Breaking news: Nyheim Hines has never been, nor will he ever be, part of the Cleveland Browns. So
yeah, he's off the list. Next,
Kelly
Foreman. Kelly gone.
Yeah, I mean, he's just that guy that they used at the goal line like twice this year, maybe, if that. See ya, dude. We have real running backs that could do that.
This is what I was talking about. So we've gone through like a fifth of this list already, and there's only one person on here that we're set on keeping, and one person that we would have fun having back, but none of us are like excited about the production, and we just would like the personality back in the room.
Yeah.
So, other teams have much worse.
James says Foreman was a Goodwill version of 3 months.
I was about to read that.
Sorry.
Version. Not that Goodwill's wrong. If you go to Goodwill, we still love you, but it's still a funny comment.
Moore and Prochet.
I would love Moore. I would, yeah. I would keep. I would be tempted. I would
put Moore this way. He's coming off his rookie contract now. He's got to be like 24 or 25.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been that productive here, but he was more productive here than where he started. What I would note, though, is whenever we had, like when we had Flacco in, or when Jameis was cooking for a couple games before things fell apart, when we were actually throwing the ball well, Moore actually always kind of showed up.
Yeah.
And it was when we were not playing well, whether it was DTR or Watson or whatever quarterback was not getting it done, that's when Moore would disappear. So it almost feels like if you guys have any plans to go into this season with a functional quarterback, Moore immediately becomes probably a very low-priced second contract that he could either do a 1-year deal and try to make himself worth it again, or you might be able to get him on a couple years. And I think best case scenario as a wide receiver 3 or 4, like that's not a bad guy to have in the room.
I think you could use, excuse me, I think you could utilize Elijah Moore with the correct quarterback the right way. I think
that's what it seems.
Yeah, I think he's a solid guy. I think he has yet to be able to show his true colors of being a wide receiver because of circumstances.
Inconsistent.
Which I hate to say. It sounds so excusey, but the numbers are there. When the quarterback is throwing the ball a lot or successfully, he always pops up on the stat sheet and always makes just a couple plays you notice in the game, a 3rd down and 10 where he gets an 11-yarder like right on the edge line, and he just sort of pops when the team is passing well. But the bad news for him is when they're not passing well, he completely disappears. So he's clearly like more of a piece to your team than he is a focal point of any team right now.
Colton said Moore is a good, solid returner and slot with a good game plan, in my opinion.
I am blown away that we have not utilized
use
him
him
in the
again.
return game at all. And I don't know if it's just because we've always like needed to keep him healthy as a receiver, but I just don't buy it. I just think his skill set feels like he should be able to return punts.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good take, Colton. I forgot that he could return punts, and we never did. Good take.
Yep. Let's move on to tight ends. We got Jordan Akins, Swaim, and Blake Whiteheart. Akins and Swaim are your undrafted free agents, and I forgot what I said ERFA was earlier. Man, I had so many screens open, did so much stuff earlier, but yeah, it doesn't matter. He's
exclusive rights free agent.
Yes,
so,
exclusive.
And we should clarify that. So, guys, we've got unrestricted free agents on here. They can walk. If you're an unrestricted free agent, it essentially means you've played long enough in the NFL that when your contract ends, you can walk. Restricted, you are allowed to test the market, but we can sign anybody, and teams will have to give up something to get him. And the exclusive rights ones are even harder for somebody else to get their hands on. So I would just put it this way: I do not remember the last time, and anybody in the chat can point one out if they can remember. I don't remember the last time a restricted free agent actually got signed somewhere else, and I don't think an exclusive rights restricted free agent even can. So,
yeah, I agree. You got to keep. I think you got to keep more. And you're talking about tight ends now.
Yeah, we got Akins, Swaim, and
I would be. I think they're going to have to draft a tight end with the skill set as Njoku, because Njoku's not consistent. So if you're looking to have a good backup tight end, I think Atkins toward the end of the season, Akins was showing consistent. Well, when he had the opportunity, he was sometimes the only one catching the ball when Zappy was throwing to him. So I think he has some upside that you can have him. He's familiar with the offense, and I think he can. I mean, they brought him here from Houston for a reason, and they really didn't utilize him. So why?
I think they brought him here from Houston because Deshaun Watson plays here, and he doesn't anymore. So
yeah, I like Akins. So.
He played okay. The reality though is he's got to be 30,
third,
low 30s, 33. So I don't know. Maybe you can get him on a cheap 1-year deal, but he's like a longer running veteran, so that makes him a little bit more likely to cost you a few bucks.
Yeah, he's 32.
So yeah,
he'll be 33.
And I mean, you need somebody in that room besides Njoku, but to me, like I'll put it this way: like I don't spend any money on him. I wouldn't spend what they're paying him now. I would let him walk for that because I think he is a mediocre tight end who there's got to be a list of free agents we have a free agent preview show coming up, but there's got to be some guys in free agency that we would like better than Akins just because we know him.
Yeah.
Adam says, what's up, gents? And Michael. Thanks, Adam. What's up, buddy? Thank you for joining the show. And then, go ahead, Angel.
Adam says, we're going to suck again.
Suck again.
We're gonna. Yeah, I mean, it's surprising.
The Blake Whiteheart kid, guys, I say give him another shot for one more year. See what he's 24 years old. Give him a shot. What else do you have? I mean, you're going to pick up somebody in a free agency. This kid's already been in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what this is about.
He's already been in the NFL. I think give him a shot. He made that spectacular catch in the Steelers game, and I'm not saying
he deserves
that's
one
the
more
only
year
reason,
for that
but that catch helped. Don't get me wrong.
That gives you 2 more games next year, buddy.
Then we'll let your ass go.
I'll put it this way. I will just put it this way on Blake Whiteheart. If you can't find a tight end better than Blake Whiteheart,
you have a problem.
Come onto this team and contribute either in the draft or free agency. We are going to suck next year because that's
come on.
The most replaceable player on this team, possibly.
Yeah,
24 years old.
There's a pretty good tight end draft coming out. I think you can pick somebody up better than Whiteheart.
Possibly as a rookie.
Yeah, possibly as a rookie.
We'll see. Here's my favorite section. Linemen. Wills, Christian, Affetti, and Hudson. Wills, see ya, dude. Get your ass out of here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. See ya, bye-bye. We'll pick up a left tackle in the draft. There's plenty of free agents, right? There's plenty of free agents, guys.
I don't know about left tackles. I don't know about left. I don't know about offensive line. Listen, I agree. I'm not a big, obviously, I'm not a big Wills guy. But when you have a guy that is good to, I don't want to say suck, but good to average, you have to keep him, right? Especially on the line. Someone who he's not consistent, but maybe, just maybe, this offensive line coach can get into him, kind of like the old one did, and make him motivated to play. Like I wouldn't write him off. I think you can try to roll the dice or kick the rock a little bit, see how he feels, and maybe give him another 1 or 2 year deal. Maybe let him test free agency, see what he comes up with. He'll come back to you, and you can say, okay, we'll match it, or maybe give you a little bit more. But I don't think you can get rid of a decent offensive tackle just to get rid of them. You know what I mean? Because
look at the last three comments.
They're very little. It's hard to get tackles, man.
Sam, expletive, Wills. Anyone is better than Wills at this point from Adam.
Not true. Not
James,
anyone.
Bye-bye, Wills. He had an effort last year. He's a bum. He made a business decision, and so was the Cleveland Browns. We're making one.
You Browns fans take things so personal. Listen,
I know
you do not get
the most dramatic fan base of all time.
The dude has been pure shit.
This guy protected his body over playing hurt so that he could make sure he stays in the league. Hate him, get him out of here. I never want to see him again. He's the worst player in the history of football.
Says the people who call off work when they get a sniffle. Right?
The dude has squirrel moments.
I'm called off work.
That guy will stand there with a edge rusher running right past him, not even showing effort. Multiple times, he sees a squirrel. It's like he's ADHD and can't handle a situation when somebody's rushing at him. Okay. He just lets him through.
This will be fun because it's the perfect segue. So I'm looking at the list of top-ranked 40 free agents by every position. Would you like to guess where Blake Whiteheart is?
50.
He's not on the top 40. Mike wants to keep Whitehurst. He's not on the top 40 available tight ends for the NFL. Hold on. Everyone says the worst tackle in the history of football is Jed Wills. Would you like to guess where he is on the top 40 and available tackles?
He's 18.
7. He's 7.
Right.
Oh, I was off.
He's the
way off.
7th best tackle available this offseason.
7th. Guys, I know we hate him.
I know. You can't bring him back. He's the worst player on
He's not. He's not as worse as we're making him to be. Yes, sometimes he's lazy. Yes, sometimes he's lethargic. I get it. But when you have an offensive who needs offensive linemen, you can't sit there and say, get rid of them. Because as you can see, as we go through this list, like you get rid of everybody, you're going to be plugging in players here.
This is one more point for Wills, and I'm not a giant advocate like we need Wills. He's great.
Yeah,
I get it. He's not a great tackle, but if you bring him in as a backup swing tackle or backup right tackle when healthy, he is a better backup than some other backups. Like you can't bring him in as a starter. I think we've played that game, but you just said something about the age. What is Jed Wills? He's got to be like 25 years old. And then the other thing is if we cut him. Because we extended his contract with like a dummy year for 2025, if we cut him, our cap hits like $13 million. If we keep him, he only costs us like $3 million. So
where did you get that number 7 from? Is that a reliable source? Where did you get that from? Yeah, even Adam just said that's Stevie Wonder's list.
20.
I got this from Sharp Football. Yeah,
and they're very sharp there.
They don't seem too sharp. Come on.
Listen, he's 25 years old. He's a 25-year-old lineman.
Chad, you did bring up a good point, like a swing lineman. I would take that. You can't have this guy out there every single down.
You bring this guy back and you pay him $20 million a year to play left tackle. This guy is worth so little on the market right now if you bring him back at all, and that's a stretch because, again, there are other guys available, and somebody might look at this and go, we're going back to that zone scheme. We know this guy used to play for the Vikings or the 49ers, and he was fine in that scheme. That could happen. But if you look at Wills and he can sign like a vet minimum type of a deal with some incentives if he actually does play, which he might not, and you bring him in to compete behind Jack Conklin for right tackle where he played in college, I don't know. I just don't think that's the worst idea. For Christ's sake, we've never seen the guy play guard. Maybe he can play guard. That's what other tackles do when they don't work out.
You drafted Zach Zinter to play guard.
Good. More guards, the better.
need some
Colton
guards.
says this is funny. Like these Browns fans are funny. Colton says Wills will barely be good at blocking someone from a high school JV team. Like,
And he's a Green
come
Bay
on.
fan.
That is a very extreme comment. You don't think he can block somebody from a JV team?
Dude,
Come on.
Browns
That's
fans already hated him, and then
crazy.
he said
No,
that
he's a
business
Green Bay
decision
fan.
thing, and it's over.
All right, let's see. Let's move along, guys. So we have Adeniji, Christian, Afedi, which Afedi's
Keep
gone.
on going.
Hudson's gone.
So is he better than anyone on that list?
Angel, stop trying to make a good
your
point.
choices are Hudson, Adeniji, Afedi, and then we're like, oh,
And
but we
then-
definitely don't
Nope.
want
Who the hell's
Wills.
Christian?
I'm gonna keep a Fetty and cut Wills. Like, come on, man. No, you're gonna keep Wills and cut the rest of them.
So we
I'll
got
say this too. Wills to me is the most likely of those guys worth signing at a backup tackle contract.
I
There's
agree.
still free agency coming, and I think all of us would agree this is probably an area that Andrew Berry and the head of pro personnel and pro scouting better have close eyes on, because they need to see if
Mhm.
there's a better backup or starting left tackle they can bring in,
Damn
so
it,
they're
Adam.
not stuck next year.
all right. Yes, I somewhat agree to that. This dude has to, like Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. Now is your
Adam-
time to shine, dude. If you want to be an offensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns, not that people are, rooting for this job, but
No,
you got
there'll
to
be
show.
people
You
rooting
got
for
to make
this job.
tape. You got to show that your ass could do this job. Simple.
Yeah.
Adam
All right.
said
I'll
it.
bet if you ask 99 Browns fans, 98 of them are like,
yeah,
Wills,
absolutely.
he's out.
Dude, our comments just went crazy because of it.
people hate him. People hate him.
Chad Wells moves. Mike said a drunken Mike would block better than Wells. Drunken Mike would block better than Wells.
I'm
Guys,
6'6", 315
we're gonna
pounds.
we're gonna have to talk Wills out late in a later show, because I think you guys are you guys are underestimating his value. He has some value.
And that's
Now,
again, and that's
some
not
value.
to say that we think he's good.
he's
It's just
some.
you're underestimating him if you think he's the worst tackle in the
Yeah.
league to play backup.
And you just had a Fetty who couldn't pass block to save his life for 9
Ugh.
games last year.
Again, maybe you bring him in as a backup on the right side for Conklin instead, and you throw Jones on the left, and you draft a guy in the second, third round to back up that side. Maybe.
Right. Our guard, Michael Dunn, undrafted free agent. That's
One hard one for me.
that one's
Yeah.
like that one's iffy. That one's where you like, all right, man, could we draw a line here? And the guy's made some decent plays. I'm not mad at him like I am Jedrick Wills. He doesn't give up. He seems to be out there. He knows his job. He knows what he's got to do. I really do like him.
Every time he has gotten his chance to start, he has played well. But here's how I would describe him. Do you guys remember Dearness Johnson?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like the Dearness Johnson of guards, in that anytime he had to like fill in for an injury or he got kind of spot duty, he plays
Showed up.
well enough to look like a starter. But you don't want him in any extended role. Just like you saw with Dearness, he went to another team and like kind of just
Pooped.
floundered off.
Yeah.
You don't want that person to be your starter, but he is just a great depth person. And I would say this too. He played his best ball in that wide zone scheme. So this is a guy that I think would be a cheap backup guard
Yep.
who absolutely can play in this scheme. And I don't think he's that old. And with Teller being a little older and Batonio not only being older, but like talking retirement a little, you need your guards. So I'm saying probably on a cheap deal. Yeah. This is a guy I probably would like to keep around, but I also think he's going to be replaceable. There's another guard in free agency. There has to be who can play backup guard for you.
Jen says Will's idea of tackling is sitting down. All right, we're gonna move on.
You could do a Will's roasting live, and you just get tons of people just roasting.
We could
Wills
have a whole
for-
show on it.
Yeah.
By the way, there is some monster guards available. This is not Dunn's role. This is not what you're looking for. But at the top of the guard, Zach Martin's a free agent. Mekhi Becton, people remember as a drafted tackle.
Yeah.
He's been playing guard for the Jets. Trey Smith. Like, there's a pretty good group of guards coming out.
All right.
Austin
Center.
Corbett, former Brown.
Yes. Center. Nick Harris.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
He's like right there too on the edge. That's one other guy that is just like, all right, man, you've been
had
crucial
so much health problems
at certain points. Yes, but you've been crucial at certain points, but then you also have your issues on the side. So
you know what? I would probably resign him.
Yeah.
We let him walk. He went to somebody else's practice squad, so obviously the league doesn't see him as that highly touted. We fired him. Nobody really hired him. We brought him back. Again, he didn't get much play. He got out there as a backup, immediately got hurt for the second time for this team. But like, I'm just a believer that like it's not a repeat injury thing. It's not an injury prone thing. He probably just bad luck. I would take another swing on him. He's got to be so cheap.
He's gonna be super cheap. That's why I said yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you need as many alpha. You're gonna have to put like outside of quarterback. You got to split the roster between quarterback and offensive lineman. That's all you have on your team. 50 quarterbacks, 50 offensive linemen. Just let them play it out. If you need a receiver, have Jameis line up as receiver and just work it out.
He's cheap enough. Those two, I think, are both Dunn and Harris. I think are cheap enough. You can sign them to a smaller deal, and if you end up picking up guys in the draft who outplay them and work them off the roster, you can cut them in August. But you're hoping they play.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys want to move on to defensive players?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We got Hurst, Kamara, and Drumfor. I hate saying that guy's name. Alvin Kamara, maybe, is my only one that I might another swing guy that would be out there for, your first and 10s maybe, and that's about it. Fresh guy to have on the field. That's about it.
Yeah, what kind of free agent is he?
He's a ER.
Yeah.
ER free agent.
Yeah, so you got to identify those when we're going through those because that's a guy who's basically a Brown still.
Yeah, he's still a Brown.
Do you think any team is coming out? Do you think any team is coming out and trying to like steal him from the Browns?
No.
I just don't see it.
Yeah, James even said keep Hurst and Kamara. So Hurst is an undrafted free agent. Drumfor is a
he's still on the team. He's still
ER guys. That's what they are. They're ER guys.
You keep meaning to say unrestricted. You keep meaning to say unrestricted free agent. You keep saying undrafted free agent.
I'm sorry. Just
yeah, Hurst.
Wow, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you keep because you're going to keep you can keep the dumber four guy anyways in Kamara because they're ER free agents. You keep her. I like Hurst. I thought he was. Yeah, I think if you can sign him, he just had injury issues. No,
that's exactly it.
Yeah,
you don't want to guarantee him much because he's left 2 seasons in a row with a season-ending injury, and it's different from even somebody like Conklin that's done that in the past because you've seen full seasons of him being great. This is a guy that you've only seen a game or two of him being great, and whenever he plays, he's great, but he's been injured more than he's played, and that's so you if you can get him some unguaranteed. I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing him back to camp. Yeah. He's a disruptor when he can be out there.
Agreed.
Next up will be the linebackers, no?
Yeah. We got Devin Bush, which is
get him, sign him.
Reed and Hudson. Man,
I think
what do you do? We need linebackers. We know this, right?
Yep.
What do you do at this point?
I think you sign Bush. I think Bush had a good season for us. I think he has. I think he had a lot of tackles. I should look that up.
I have to see it. I think this might have been his best season.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
He was on the.
He plays well in this scheme, and I think other teams have seen him as the guy who bounced from Pittsburgh around, and then I don't know that people will value him as much as the Browns can value him. When he stepped in after JOK's injury, he doesn't play that exact position, but when he and Diabate stepped in to play that role, they did a pretty incredible job holding down a room without the most superstar player available. I think for me, that's a lock. If you can get a good deal, and he's young enough that I would sign him to he's a guy I would bury. Like I would sign him for 1 or 3 years. I'm not like a lot of these other guys we've talked about, like Elijah Moore. Good chance we'd just sign a 1-year deal for him. Nick Chubb 1 to 2. Nick Harris is probably getting a 1-year deal. Mo Hurst. Those are all guys you're probably offering like a 1-year deal. Let's see what you can do. Bush is the one guy we've come across so far that I might say, like, here's 3 years.
You have to, right?
A year to play with us.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, he's a different linebacker than JOK, but I think he adds value, like you said. Also, Reed's the ERA free agent, so he's going to be on team anyways. And even if he was unrestricted free agent, I would say sign him because I thought he had.
He kind of came up, right?
He came up.
He did.
He played better as the season went on, which is what you want to see. And Hudson, I'm iffy on.
I get rid of Hudson.
Bush.
That's fine. Reed is exclusive rights free agent. I definitely sign him. I would be all for that. Bush, sign it. Hudson, see you, dude. Not my guy.
Yeah, I'm not a Hudson guy.
So we got Mike Ford and Brown. I don't even know who Brown is. So we're gonna
Mike. Both of them cut.
Mike Ford came back from the
Troy, is this Troy Brown?
Thinks yes.
He was signed as like he's a cornerback by like trade, but I think he was signed to basically be our like one of our special team exclusive guys.
Like a utility guy.
Yeah, a special teamer that like we've always had 1 or 2 guys who are like, you're going to be a gunner, you're on our special teams. But I think he was a cornerback and we didn't get anything out of him.
Yeah, I don't like Ford. I think when he plays defense, he's not really there. Maybe he's a good special teams guy. He does make tackles on special teams, but I don't care enough for him to.
We brought him back from the Patriots, and I was kind of excited at first, but then it just watching this year unfold wasn't enough for me with him.
Yeah, I don't like, and I really don't like Ford. I think he lets a lot of big plays off in the back when he's actually on the field. I think we can improve in that area as far as depth in corner.
Yeah. Safeties.
Safeties.
Rodney McLeod, which is an undrafted.
Tired.
He's retiring this year. So
he's officially put in his retirement papers. And he did say, though, as a fun ad in his retirement that, like, yes, I'm completely done with football, but if the Browns happen to make the playoffs next year, or if somebody needs me like in a pinch in January, give me a call.
Ring chaser.
Stay in shape or whatever. That's whatever.
Yeah. Christopher Edmonds.
I don't blame him.
Which I don't even know. Honestly, I don't.
He's and Bell. I like Bell a lot. He's restricted though, so that's a good thing. We can match. I do like Bell. I thought he showed some improvement toward I think he was consistent last year too. So I would sign him. Why not? I mean, make him an offer. He's restricted, so no one can. You just match whoever tries to sign him anyway. So
like we talked about, So the restricted free agents, like he was an undrafted free agent though originally, right? Which makes it a little tougher.
Yeah.
So that means if we sign him, it's going to be about $3 million a year, and I don't know if he's worth that, but
he thinks he's worth more.
We're not going to put probably a first or second round tender on them, or
no.
James says keep Mike Ford. That's my guy. He's the guy who wiped his ass with a terrible towel, and I was sold.
Oh, okay. So
I forgot about that.
Sign him to 2 more years.
Yeah,
just for that. Come on, guys. Don't keep
you want to get on the Browns fans. You want to get on the good side. Say something mean about the Steelers or say something nice about Cleveland, and you got them locked in forever.
Yeah. So that's it, no?
Oh, man, no. There's more. I mean, we can go to the remaining roster, what we do have, and that's
here,
I'll pull it up right now.
So what 3 guys would you guys sign? We have Chubb, Moore, Dunn, and Harris.
I mean, out of everybody we named, the 3 guys I think I like the best are Chubb, Moore, and Bush. Those would be my 3 out of everybody we named.
That would be mine also, for sure.
Honorable mention Jedrick Wills.
Yeah, he's on 4th. he's just off the podium on the floor.
I never wanted to hit you guys so hard in my life. Lou says, "Hey there, guys, at the Steelers." Yes, we all agree to that, Lou. That is for sure. And I promise. Oh, you got to promise you won't share this through Twitter. because you make Chad mad. But no, there's a lot this team needs. We know this, right?
Yeah.
There's certain scenarios that have to be fixed with this.
I don't think we need as many as other people think. I'm just worried about the level of talent that we have at some of the places, but I think there's other teams out there.
I agree, yeah.
Bigger holes. What will kill us is if we have to fill that hole at like right edge rusher. That will destroy us. If Miles does end up working his way out of town, we all of a sudden probably need a lot more because we have to adjust so much of the roster to like account for that. But as things stand, if they can convince him to stay, we obviously have weak points, but I don't think we've had years where we couldn't field a team as is with the group that we had there. I don't think that's the case now. But we can kind of go through the roster, see where our like strongest and weakest positions are, and just come up with a real quick to get ready for the next couple of shows of upcoming free agents and draft picks. We can come up with a real quick list of like what we think is our biggest areas of need. Either one, somebody that you need a player there to actually start for you, and two, you definitely need to add like either depth or talent to the room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just seeing this list, the two right away stick out. Is the first two listed. Is two important areas. So you go through the roster right now. Let's go through it. This first, that's on the team, on the roster currently right now. We'll start with quarterback. We know our quarterback room is very deep with Deshaun Watson and DTR, and it ends there.
Very deep.
Very deep as far as talent and wins on top of that. I think that's a need, right? I think we need we need a couple quarterbacks, right? So you need preferably to draft one and preferably maybe to pick up two in free agency. I've heard
tradable.
Yeah,
there's no quarterbacks. There's 0 quarterbacks on this roster. The only person under contract is Watson, who won't play.
Exactly.
DTR, who can't play at all.
And he's on his rookie contract. This
is the worst quarterback room in the NFL.
Yeah,
the only quarterback that
literally
can play any football for this team is Jameis Winston, and we just talked about he's completely replaceable by half of the free agent quarterback list.
I mean,
the free agent quarterback list is big. There's actually a ton of guys out there, just nobody that like drives you crazy. But neither does Winston for most teams. We just like him because he's fun. So,
Jameson's Super Bowl weekend was asking, "What team should I play for?" So it shows me that he may not even be coming to Cleveland because he's actually pining for other teams to get him. But so you definitely need to get quarterbacks. I think this is our weakest area on the team. I don't think that's even a debate.
I'm going to bring up Chad's favorite guy right now, and he's live.
Who's live?
Nick Carnes, your favorite guy.
Nick Carnes. I don't have a problem with Nick. Nick has a problem with Nick, and he just doesn't know it. He like gets himself all amped up on everything, and then like he's so optimistic, and then like when that obviously crumbles because it's not real life, he like goes on these rants of like, how did this happen? I thought we were going to win 13 games and contend for the Super Bowl this year. And I was like, no one but you said that.
Though. I had to bring it up. I had to bring it up because I opened up her Twitter page and boom, there he was.
Yeah, I comment on stuff all the time. I like we go back and forth. It's fun, but it's like, and I never have a problem with him. I just think it's funny because he'll be the person who's like, laser eyes Andrew Berry, and then he's like, if this guy isn't fired by the end of the week, I'm not going to be a Browns fan anymore. And then like 4 days later, it's
not
like
even 4 hours later.
It's like Andrew a teenage romance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a teenage
Andrew
romance.
Berry signs Jerry Jeudy, and he's like, "I'm back on board."
Like, okay. Sounds like me in high school, man, junior high. Just lover, hater, back and forth. All right, Nick, so man, you gotta get right.
He tortures himself, but I think people like it. I think he's more of a Browns fan than I am in terms of like what Browns fans are like. He's emotional. He's optimistic. He's like ever hopeful, and then when things go wrong,
he
freaks out, and he's like,
Mike.
Ah.
Wait, so you tell me that's Mike's clone?
He's like, he's like 60-70% of Browns fans. Like that is most of my Browns fan friends are
Yeah,
like,
me
Chad, you
too.
think we're winning how many this year? 12? And I'm like, 12. I'm
12.
8. Like, and then we win 6, and I was like, well, I thought 8, it's 6. And other people are like, we won only half as many as we were supposed to. But the supposed to is just
You're
a
right.
number they made up because they were feeling hopeful.
Angie, like that? Speaking of, I put up a thing here that says merch link in panels. If you guys scroll down or up, whatever you're on, you can go and check out our merch.
Yeah, check
It's
out the
cheap.
merch.
It's awesome.
Cheap.
I'm not wearing any of it right now. None of us are actually, but
I'm not either.
yeah, it's awesome. It's like the hoodie is the best. But check that out.
Hats are good. We got everything you need. Phone stuff, everything. Just go to Streamlabs and buy some stuff, and Streamlab would benefit from it.
Yeah, maybe they'll help our stream.
Yeah, maybe
like,
they're
bandwidth. We'll be all right.
This team sucks.
Yeah.
All right, onto running backs. We're gonna have a strong running back presence this year of Ford and Strong. No pun intended.
Strong still under contract? That was a tricky one for me. Is he actually still under contract?
I
Where's
believe
your little-
He is
so.
no. Yeah, he is. But he just has no. Well,
He has no guarantees.
no
Okay.
guarantees. Yeah.
So he's got no guarantees. So I don't think he's even going to be on this. I'll be shocked if he makes this team.
Do you feel
$3,982,148. He signed a 4-year deal with the Cleveland Browns.
4 years, and he only played like 2 games.
In 2025, he'll earn a base salary of $3,214,000 while carrying a cap hit of $3,294,000 and a dead cap value of $80,000. Which
the thing is
horrible.
with Strong is whenever he has opportunity, he seems to play strong, right? He seems to
Is that a
play
pun?
good.
I guess
Is that a pun?
one thing I would give him the benefit of the doubt on is, again, we're trying to go back to running the ball. We're trying to go back to a better blocking scheme. The reason that was the scheme that we had when they brought him in and saw something in him. But here's what I would say. Ford is there. Ford is better than Strong, and he can't be cut right now. He's a more expensive player. And he's a pretty good player. Chubb, we all think Chubb is likely to sign here, likely to come back, likely to be pretty good again. And then you're looking at what people are calling one of the best running back drafts in
a while.
In years. And so if we don't come out with at least one running back, knowing that Chubb is older, Ford is on the last year of his deal, I'd be shocked if we don't come out with at least one.
2.
What only thing Strong would tell me is maybe they don't have to grab somebody in free agency because that would leave them Ford, Chubb, Strong, rookie.
Yeah.
And you don't keep that many. So
he ended the season with 4.2 yards per carry, 108 yards, 26 carries. I mean, he's I feel like when he's given the opportunity, he had 291 yards last year, 4.6.
I mean, he's a backup back.
Year.
He's not a lead back. He's a role player.
I just can't believe they signed him a 4-year deal. I'm kind of shocked about that.
I did not know that. I seriously thought we brought him in from the Patriots, and I thought we seriously had him on like a one this year.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm kind of thrown off by that.
Me too. I'm shocked by that. I don't know how I didn't know that.
Do you think it's a possibility that we draft 2 running backs?
Yes, and I wouldn't count on it only for the reason of I think they're going to spread it out, and I don't know that. I think we'll come out of the draft with 2. I don't know if they'll use 2 active picks on them, but I would be shocked if we don't come out with 1 drafted and then either a later one drafted or a UDFA after the draft is over. But it's not just that this is a strong draft because there's high talent. There's also deep talent. So every time I see like mocks, I'm seeing running backs still going in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round.
See, that's why I think
like there's a pile of people still there. So I wouldn't be shocked by that. And we have a bunch of 5th, 6th, and 7th rounders. It more to me depends on if they find a value early, then I would think there's a likelihood they'd grab somebody late. But if they don't find a value early, I don't think they'll like double down on 6th rounders or anything like that.
Yeah, I would be.
There's too many other good positions like interior linemen, linebacker, safeties that you can kind of sneak late. And I also have a suspicion, even though I know we have some space on our roster, I would have a suspicion that Barry might move around the draft a little bit, using some of those picks either for the future, trading them for future picks, or moving up a bit to get the guys he really wants. And if that's the case, we don't have quite as many picks as we act like we have.
All right, on to receivers, which is a position we thought we were weaker in coming into last year, only to find out that it was probably our strength
Judy is
of the
awesome.
team,
Yeah.
which is weird. And it helped because of the rolling the dice on Judy and paying him ahead of time. People were like, what are you doing? Andrew Berry made a good move there. No one talks about that, just as bad drafting, which he needs to improve, yes. Tillman showed some improvement toward the end there, got hurt
Tillman
with the
was
concussion.
playing so well before he got
Yes.
hurt. Once they put him in that, once they got Cooper out the door, which is a lot of dead cap, but all in all, I think we'll all be happy to have that late third rounder instead of Amari Cooper, who could do literally nothing in Buffalo. He did more here, I think, than he did in Buffalo, which is shocking because Buffalo can actually throw the ball. But when they did that and Tillman moved into that X position and Judy became kind of wide receiver 1 for us by default, and he lived up to it. But Tillman playing the X instead of Cooper, he did like he had found his spot. And I was so sad that whatever it was, like 3 games into it, he had that terrible concussion and he missed the whole rest of the season. And it's such a bummer because it was such a good development chance for him. But at least like you go into it thinking like, oh, he actually has something, because his rookie year, the kid looked like he was on the right side of the field. Bell, we can barely count. He's just not. David Bell's not very good. He also ended the season with a pretty rough season-ending injury. We saw a little bit more out of Woods than Bell, even though Bell's the better player. Bell was playing great before he got hurt too, similar to Tillman. But I think it's a different kind of great. Like you don't see the upside. You see him as kind of like
possession receiver
later
type
possession
of
receiver.
Yep.
Exactly. You see him as like a third or fourth
down. No, short yards.
And then Thrash, we saw almost nothing out of, but he barely played. But again, he's got some level of talent. Obviously, they're going to want to add to this room, but I wouldn't call this room a position of weakness, especially if they do dial back more. I think you walk in with a better quarterback, Judy, Moore, Tillman, and the young guys, and all of a sudden you still feel like we can
pretty good.
So I'd say like you need to add depth or an extra playmaker there, but I don't know that you need to like have a starter there. I think you can walk in with some starters.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to see him maybe draft someone later. I mean, I feel like from the mock drafts I've done, that there might be some good talent there to kind of replace Bell as a possession receiver, even though I love Bell. Hopefully he can get right, because I thought he was a good possession receiver, but we'll see. Our tight end position, the only one on the team currently is David Njoku. And we know what the problem with David Njoku is.
Cool, I'm back.
Mike's back.
Can you guys see me and hear me? I mean,
I see you and I hear you. Is everything okay?
No.
No. You're frozen though. All right, now you're moving. Okay, I can see you now.
I don't think you were frozen. I think you were just flabbergasted.
Yeah, he's getting upset because the only tight end we have on our roster is David Njoku, and he has it.
The only tight end is going to be Streamlabs tomorrow after I spank him after tonight's show.
Oh, naughty.
That's what she said.
But yeah, David Njoku is the only tight end team. So obviously this is a position of need going into the draft and free agency. I don't know how high they're looking to get a tight end,
James.
but there's some people there that you can get in the draft in the later rounds.
And there's like I said before when we were talking about them, there is a huge list of like if I started naming off the tight ends in the free agency list, the amount of guys you would probably know is pretty telling. Like there's a lot of guys out there whose names you would know. So that's pretty positive. And then you're looking at a draft where, I mean, we talk about this like, yeah, it's a great tight end draft. And people have said the same thing as you said about the running backs, Angel. Like, could we maybe draft 2? Technically, yes. But like every team knows it's a good tight end draft, and about every team could use some tight end help. So I don't think they're just going to be like all over the place. But yeah, this is a draft where you definitely want to come out with a tight end. The good news for the Browns is they don't need a starter. They have Njoku, but they definitely need to bring in probably a free agent tight end because you need depth, and then probably also a rookie tight end because they're going to go in this season with maybe 4 tight ends in training camp, and they will go into the season with 3 on the active roster. 2 of them don't even exist right now. So definitely I'm putting them under the depth category.
On to tackle. Conklin and Jones. Jones can't stay healthy, and Conklin has the same issue, health. You see, it's a trend. There's health issues on this team.
He's staying pretty
So
healthy all year.
This is a good question for you guys, though, because this one's a tough one. Because I think all of us could imagine a world where Jones plays left tackle, Conklin plays right tackle, and in that scenario, you just need depth. But because one of them has never really had any real experience at left tackle and is coming off another injury, I would also think it's pretty fair to say they need to draft a starting left tackle, and then they don't need depth that bad. They can get cheap depth.
Wait, so you're saying keep Jed Wills, draft another left tackle, and then...
I don't think you keep Jed Wills at left. I think if you keep Jed Wills, he's playing right tackle or swing tackle. I don't think you don't count on that guy. I also don't think you can count on Jones to play left tackle, but I know the fan base is higher on him than I am. So I could see Browns fans saying, like, he's our future left tackle. And if they believe that, they might think, well, we just need to bring in depth behind them, though, backups. I am leaning towards the fact that we might need a starting left tackle and let Jones come in as a backup and Wills or somebody else as a backup. But I don't think I'm more on like we need a starting tackle. I just was wondering what you guys
I agree. I think DeJuan Jones would be a great addition to this team if he can keep his weight under control as well. The guy is, I'm not going to say elite. We've seen him make great plays, but with his weight issues, I don't think it's going to work out as well as we plan it to.
I think we're being hopeful, to be honest.
We are.
Angel, we were talking about we're the tackle room is a unique one because although we only have 2, I think a lot of fans would look at those 2 and say, okay, we have our 2 starting tackles. We have to add backups. Some of us would look at it and say, we have 1 sure starting tackle and a good backup. We need to add another starting tackle. Which side of the fence are you?
Jones, inconsistency in pass blocking scares me. So I would agree. You have Conklin, if he can stay healthy, is solid. Jones, to me right now, I would put as coming into the season, I would have to put him as backup. Because or share time, basically of who you're going to draft or who you're going to place there as swing or whatever. But I would have him compete for sure because, like you guys mentioned, the weight, the injury. Is he going to be able to keep his weight off? I've also heard an interview with him and Nathan Segura of how he felt discouraged, and the only reason why he felt he got out of it was because of Mike Vrabel's ability to coach him out of his mental state. So he felt a little discouraged because he hasn't been playing consistently. So I'm a little worried about his mental state because obviously injuries would do that to you. But yeah,
they make it tough, man. Rehabbing more than you play is a challenge and believe me, from a rehab perspective, like athletes they want to play, they want to compete. And when you go through as grueling as rehab can be after something like a knee surgery, and you get right back out there and immediately get hurt and need another surgery and know you're going to spend the entire next offseason rehabbing again when you just did it for months, it is devastating to these guys like psyche. There's nothing you can do but just fight through it.
So before I move along to the centers, Posick and Whippler, I think that this offensive line coordinator now this year has to go back to the old Cleveland Browns standard of what we used to have as an offensive line. I think that'll help huge because we watched it last year. Our offensive line crumbled not only because of injuries, but the play, the setup, the format, the scheme.
Bad offense, bad blocking scheme. It just coach that obviously didn't work.
And you go from a quarterback that doesn't want to play under center at all to straight shotgun every time. Chad, there was a recall on that stuff, dude. You might want to check that out.
Coconut water?
Yes.
Ooh. This brand?
I think it was.
Yes.
Check it out. I saw you.
You all just watched me die on live video.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I'll do it later though. If I do it now, I'll be paranoid.
I'm not kidding. There
He's
was,
like-
yeah. It's just.
I'm gonna go to
Jokes on the
hospital,
show.
guys. Talk to you later.
We'll get plenty of viewers.
Do it for the gram.
As
Do
he
it for the
takes a
gram.
sip. Hold on, you got to hold your. You got to do it so Sam likes it. Actually, speaking of Sam,
Do it
his
like
comment
s-
disappeared because Streamlabs is trash today. But
Do it like Sam likes it. That's weird.
Posick and Whippler centers.
Wait, well, you skipped our guards, man. You not worried about our guards?
No,
Oh, those guys
I
are
think
good.
our guys
I'm
are
not. I'm really not though. We got Antonio, Teller,
I'm
and
not
Zinter.
either.
But Tony,
I
I'm
think those
worried
guys-
about the retirement, right? If he retires, but that'd be a little.
I think we
worried,
need
but-
one. I think we need one medium backup center. I mean, one medium backup guard, and he might already be in that free agent list we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
And they have another one too. They have. Didn't they pick up? Isn't Javian Cohen or whatever his name was? Cohen
Yeah.
was like a 7th rounder that they actually really liked too. So they might actually have their guards.
And if
all
Adam,
set.
you're still watching, dude, I do like Zach Zinter. I think this kid's going to show a lot of promise. We just got to figure out where we're going to put him. We moved him around so much last year where it was just a nightmare, and the guy seemed to be. It was a nightmare, Angel, was it?
He played.
Yeah, no, I was laughing at
a
coming into the,
I was laughing at comment.
Sam said, "Don't be a bitch down that shit, Chad."
I'll be on
I'm
the
scared.
toilet.
Recall.
Recall what? I'll be on the
Oh
toilet
my
later.
gosh, I can taste the potassium just in my body.
They added extra potassium.
There's
No,
some
yeah.
chloroform and nuclear
I
reactive
do-
stuff in there. Like,
If this has norovirus or something in it, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed. You know, I'm freaking pissed.
oh.
All right.
all
Zinter,
right.
though, honestly, if Adam, you're still watching, it's one good thing that came out of Michigan. I think this kid's going to be promising as a guard. Whatever
Tom
we
Brady?
move him to, I think. Nah, not that. No.
Tom Brady came out of Michigan.
Yeah, stop.
He's the goat.
Damn it, Angel.
All
He was
right.
like a backup. He's a backup quarterback in Michigan. He barely played there. That's why. That's what the best thing that could have happened to him was that he couldn't make it on the field.
Right.
Uh,
Crap.
yeah.
Ooh,
Okay.
breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news!
Hold on. I got something for
Tom-
that. Ready? Hold
Tom
on.
Brady-
Hold on.
Tom Brady.
Hey.
By the way,
All right, go ahead.
Darn it! I was waiting for this big like da 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 da
Yeah.
da da.
It was
could
there.
hear-
In December 2024, the FDA recalled 2 million cans of Jarritos coconut water. Not
yours.
not
Got
the
it.
coconut
You looked
water.
it up for real?
Yeah, he was worried, man.
He said he's not
He
going to look it
wanted-
up during the show.
He didn't want to die.
Yeah, but then I just couldn't help myself. I was like, I wonder what brand it was. I drink
All right.
so much.
you
coconut
want to
water.
die.
All right, so I was right, but wrong at the same time.
You were, but that's good. Now I know not to buy that coconut water.
Yes, there you go.
It's a
Ah.
Mexican brand. I can tell by the name, which means it's probably on every shelf in San Diego.
Because you're closer to Mexico.
Yes.
For everybody out there who hates our X account, you can thank Mike because I'll still be running it because I'm alive, baby.
Sorry, fellas.
That was great. Touche.
On to centers.
I
Posick.
will never die.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I know you guys want him to be gone, but Chad is.
All right,
is
I'm
a-
done. I'm
he's
done. I
pretty
got really
crucial
bad
to the
on the
show.
That's
Man,
Chad's
this
death
is-
note.
Squeeze at the end. All right.
Was that really
we're
loud?
Off
I'm
the track.
sorry.
We went off the tracks. We're
Centers.
back. We're back.
Posick and Whippler. Keep them both. Centers are an issue.
Fine. I
Yeah.
am not worried about the center position. And also, if they do decide to sign Nick Harris to a cheaper deal or can find an interior lineman, it's a good interior lineman draft. You've got a possibility of Harris. You've got a possibility of drafting a center who you can get way later in the draft than a lot of other positions. Like we had mentioned, like safeties go a little later, tight ends sometimes go a little later, interior offensive linemen and linebackers go a little later. Like you can come out of this draft and feel pretty good at the center position.
All right, let's move along. Edge rushers. We got Myles Garrett, Obo
Counting
Okoronkwo,
him.
Alex Wright,
We're
and
counting Myles Garrett.
McGuire. But we're gonna say Myles Garrett because he's still here.
That's what I'm saying.
technically.
He's on the roster for now. Myles Garrett's a Brown. So for everybody that's like, we need edge rusher, I'm not counting him as traded
yet.
because they have
Yeah.
not even hinted that they're willing to do that yet. So I'm counting him until he's gone.
So
Correct.
my
It's
only
easier
question
for
with
me.
this, guys, is do you guys really think he'd sit out next year because we didn't grant his trade? That's my. I don't
know
want to
that he
spend the rest
said-
of the show on this.
I don't know if he said he would go this far. Here's how I would phrase it. Miles Garrett is on. He can say all he wants about a championship.
Numbers.
He set records for the amount of years in a row that he's had 14 sacks.
Yep.
He's set records for the youngest guy in history to get to this many sacks. He is building a Hall of Fame career. I know he doesn't want to go directly from Cleveland to Canton, but I know he does want to go to Canton. And I
And
just do not believe a
starts-
player
yeah.
like that sits out
Takes
for
a
a whole
year
year
off.
and gives up. You want to talk about the stat difference between him and TJ Watt if he takes an entire year off?
Yep.
It could
after
be
he's had
14
some injuries and
yeah.
some suspensions. Like
My point
that's
exactly.
given up a
yes.
lot of his prime, and he's so worried about his prime. I don't know if you want to give up a year of your prime then by sitting. So I would
Yeah,
call his bluff.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't believe
you
he's sitting out.
exactly. You call his bluff, you let him play. Worst case, you have a horrible season, then you trade him mid-season for picks for next year.
That's
That's
exactly what I
that's a
would do.
win. Yeah, that's the win. You and then
If we
that's
find a
good-
spot for you in
Yeah.
Detroit at the trade deadline, and they want to offer what they offered last year, then we'll
you
talk.
got it. Yep.
Okay.
Block Rockwell, whatever, dude, don't care. Alex Wright
Okay.
and McGuire,
Right. But actually, Oko and McGuire are very good young, talented edges
Yeah,
that
that's
we
what I'm
should
saying.
really be
That's-
paying attention to. I know people are like, I
I
agree,
also
Miles,
would say
losing Miles.
Alex Wright before Alex Wright got
Yeah,
hurt. he
Alex
looked
Wright, yep.
great.
Yeah.
And he's
So-
also young on his rookie contract. I think this is one of our better group. And this is probably our best group with
100%.
Miles still included.
Yep, and I think this is why it's important. We're going to hit this next pick
The
here.
defensive
Next,
tackles.
yes. Why, if you add somebody to that with your second pick, you can be pretty deadly with that edge rusher. And if you add a different defensive tackle from Michigan, that could be pretty lethal.
Tomlinson, Harris, and Hall.
You guys know I love
And
Graham, man. You guys
Mason
know I love
Graham.
Mason Graham.
Can you imagine Mason
Love
Graham
him.
with Hall? You have McGuire, Wright, whoever on the other side with Garrett on the other side. That'd be a crazy offensive line, defensive line.
I agree, dude. I agree. But again, that's one of those scenarios where you have to really, really analyze it.
I analyzed
If
it.
Miles Garrett leaves, that shifts.
I
the-
analyzed it.
I know you did, but I'm just like a
analyzed-
lot of people haven't.
No,
I
yeah,
love
get it.
Mason Graham. Don't get me wrong, and I hate saying
Yeah.
I love a Michigan guy, but if the guy will come to the Cleveland Browns and dominate, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Just like I think.
Man, what about your interior line being Hall next to Graham? That would be
Weird.
right? It'd
Between
be
the
a
two
hell
of
of
those
a
guys. Graham's a much more talented like start off player, but Hall showed a
Showed
little bit last year
before
to
that
me.
injury. Yeah.
right.
I would say this too. So this group, Harris is old. Tomlinson's like right in his kind of like prime years still. He's a vet, but he's not too old. Hall is incredibly young.
Yeah.
Obviously, more depth needs to come into this line. But as we talked about earlier, the strongest positions in this draft, running back, tight end, defensive line. If you don't get Graham, there are
Yeah, I agree.
defensive linemen in the second, third, and maybe later who can come in and not only fill in depth, but possibly do some damage in this defensive line. It's an area of depth need, and I think they can fill it.
Can you imagine Mike Hall and Mason Graham lining right up next to each other?
That's what I'm saying. It'd
Flipping
be
each
That'd
other
be
off.
sick, man.
Like,
And then-
I know you're a
and
Michigan
the
guy.
thing
I know
is-
you're an Ohio State guy, but I'm sorry.
Graham
Angel.
could get to the quarterback. So like if you try to double whether Garrett or McGuire or White or Oko, like you're gonna leave that open. Even Hall had a couple of sacks last year
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
the
both those
quarterback
guys
going up
can-
the middle.
Both
They
those
can get
guys
to the
can get
quarterback.
past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I think with Mike Hall coming in with a full year without suspension as well is going to be pretty damn promising.
It's like that's when
next
when
group-
I do mock drafts and I put Graham in there, people are like, "You're crazy." I'm thinking like, you guys don't see
He's
the
so
potential
good.
of that. Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys don't see
Yeah.
the defense could be.
And I don't know that he's better than
Abdul
than
Carter.
Hunter or than Carter, but I do think like he is right. I would say he's probably in that tier. It's like those. If you're not going quarterback, those three are the three guys
yeah,
that stand out to me. And I think for some reason nobody's considering him as that third third guy in that tier. So if you're not going quarterback, like there could be a situation let's just say hypothetically you do trade back, or you just really truly don't like the quarterbacks. People aren't considering Carter goes first to the Titans. It comes to you and you don't like the quarterbacks, and neither does anybody else to trade with you. You got to pick somebody, and now there's like a 2-person competition in my book. And like, I don't think people should count out Graham because he should be one of the 2 people that you're looking at if you don't think quarterback's the way to go.
Facts.
Or forget it. Or you sign Sam Darnold or something in free agency, and you're like, oh, well, now we're definitely not drafting a quarterback. That changes everything. I think people should just at least keep him on their radar.
And that goes back to our last week's bridge comment. Linebackers, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Hicks, Diabate, and Watson. Unfortunately, still, nothing's known about JOK.
Nope.
We would love to get some information on that, but unfortunately, our best linebacker is down as of right now. From all that we know, I would love to know something, man. That would be the best news to hear that guy is returning next year.
And it's the very interesting part of this is if he is returning, I would say this is maybe our second or third strongest position in the entire team. And if he's not, it is absolutely one of the weaker positions, and you need to grab a good player.
So
I like the linebacker group. I like that group. I like Hicks. I like Diabate and Watson. I think they're good.
Watson can go. We can pick up somebody better than Watson, I think.
I'm just hoping JOK gets healthy because that would help a lot.
I've watched Watson give up.
Young. He's cheap.
Yeah, but I watched him give up on a bunch of big plays this year. Dude, he was always the one getting blown out of the water.
Maybe. I mean, but again, full off season coming into a second year, we'll see. It's rare to cut a guy after only his rookie year.
Yeah.
Because that's how you maintain the roster price wise, is by having some rookie contract guys.
And for reference sake, JOK's rookie year really wasn't as good or promising as he got better each year. So maybe Watson.
Watson as a linebacker, if the kid can only play special teams, he'll probably get a roster spot. So he doesn't even have to play linebacker.
We will see.
If Koramoah can play and we bring back Bell, there's no reason he should be on the field because Hicks and Diabate are better than him. So
cornerbacks, ladies and gentlemen, Ward, Newsome, Emerson, Mitchell, Harden. Great. No? You want to get rid of them all?
Nope. I'll keep them all. I
was like, whoa, because you were like,
he's like, cut them.
That's like, he was like that. I'm like, whoa, dude, what?
Nope. I'm completely content with the entire cornerback room. Like, no problem.
So am I. All right, cool. We all agree on that, Angel?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Safeties, Juan Thornhill, Grant Delpit, Hickman. Get rid of Thornhill. Keep Delpit and Hickman. I'm cool with that.
Thornhill's a pretty big
name. That's about it.
I think if you cut him. No, cap hit.
Yeah, cap hit. Yeah.
Cap hit if you cut him.
Oh, yeah, because we got him for 2 more years, right? Damn it.
Yeah.
The tough thing with Thornhill is if you do cut him, you're basically signing somebody else and paying 2 safeties. And so, like, even if he's not great, you'd be better off bringing in, like, a rookie who can play a little or something more than just cutting him for another veteran because you're not going to have the money, I don't think. I think we're stuck with him. And he's not terrible, he frustrates you because he frustrates you in similar ways to, like, the defensive version of Wills, where people saw him quit on a play or two, and he was expected to be much better than he was. And it frustrates you when, like, your expectation is so underperformed, and it goes along with you seeing that it's an effort issue. Like, anybody can come in and, like, we wanted him to be here. He's not quite as good as we thought. But when that he's not quite as good goes with, we also don't think he's trying his hardest, that is what kills fans.
I'm not going to say we talked about it when it happened. That one play against, I think it was the Kansas City Chiefs, where he just gave up and we're like, there was no way he was going to catch him. I can't remember. Maybe the Texans. I don't
think he was going to catch him, but it frustrates you that he didn't just keep running anyway.
Right. But and I get that. But there was also so many other plays that he's got blown up on this year that kind of disappointed me as a Super Bowl winning safety. I mean, I get it. You're not.
They brought him in a legitimate, like, 4-year deal. Like, I think they signed him like a real 4-year deal, and it's not like he's a high price safety. It's just we tried to sign him coming off of, like, a good season in and get him. Like we tried to do like the Judy thing, like we're going to pay him and expect he's going to continue to accelerate, and he basically pumped the brakes, and it's a bummer.
It's like I got my money. Yeah. James said he's not the chosen one.
He just had a baby. Hopefully he'll come back next year. But like, man, I really got to do this.
I'm trying to get Thornhill on the show. He just ignores me all the time.
Special teams. Dustin Hopkins. You want to know why? I say keep him because he is one that doesn't have sexual allegations, and he could probably kick better than most, except this year because he has issues. His home life isn't the greatest.
His kid. He has a couple of issues with his.
He has a kid with special needs, and I can understand that. And I'm not saying cut the guy because of that, because we've seen him make great kicks. There might just be something. He's got to block that out this year. Hopefully, special teams coach could help him with that.
I'm expecting a bounce back year, and I'm expecting them also not to count on that and bring in competition. But I don't think when Barry was talking about like drafting one in like the 5th round or something, I'm like,
jeez, man.
Barry Chuck on the show 2 weeks ago was talking about drafting.
Yeah, I remember.
I think we'll all be pretty happy just to bring in an undrafted free agent kicker at the end of the draft. But I do think you should bring in competition similar to what they did midseason this year in case Hopkins doesn't bounce back. But he was so far off of the entire rest of his like 6 or 7 year career, whatever it is. I think I expect him to kind of regress back to the mean, like kind of fade back to his average. So maybe not, but I think that's what I would expect.
As long as we don't bring Cade York back, we can leave him in Cincinnati. I'm cool with that. Jorquez, the player of the year. I mean, you there's no ifs, ands, or buts, right, Angel?
An absolute Cleveland Browns legend.
Yeah. He's a special team Cleveland Browns legend. Put him on the special team Hall of Fame.
That's what we're known for.
Final special player on this team. Charlie Hewlett, still under contract.
Get him on the show.
We had him on the show. Yeah, we had him on the show.
Having him here.
When I went to the Dallas game, he was doing his workout in the end zone, and I yelled, "Charlie, cool!" and he turned around and waved. I'm like, man, that's
By the
your
way,
nickname.
Speaking of Charlie Cool being on the show, as a bearded Browns player who came on the Bearded Browns show, I'd just like to point out that a friend of mine saw Joe Batonio the other day at an event and texted me, "Hey, do you want me to go ask if he'd be on the show?" And I said, absolutely, yeah. If he's there with you, like ask him if he wants to jump on the show. Tell him Charlie Hewlett was on. Tell him we love like the big bearded Browns players. And then he texted me back like an hour later. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't."
Thanks.
He got that fame guard.
Why did you tell me? Why did you even tell me that?
Yeah.
Why'd you even ask?
Appreciate it.
I got all excited. I'm like, dude, is this guy going to be able to get one of like the ultimate Cleveland Browns of this past like generation on the show?
Yes.
He didn't even ask him. He was playing it cool though. I respect to the. He just shouldn't have said anything. He was playing it cool. He didn't want to like bother him and be like fanboy, which is how you should do it.
Yeah.
But then I just wouldn't have told him. I just wouldn't have said like, "Hey, you want me to ask him on the show?"
Yeah.
I actually was like, "Oh yes, that would be incredible."
I do have one thing. Since we had Barry Shuck on, I believe it was last week or the week before that, I did ask him for an idiom because we didn't get one last week. You might have already seen it, Chad. Where the word hike came from. Is that hike? You know?
Yeah.
Does anybody know where that came from by chance?
Quarterback going on a hike.
Stop it, Angel. As the sport of American football began to form, new purposes were introduced because of necessity. Originally, the traditional signal for a center to snap the ball to the quarterback was scratch of the center's leg. You just scratch his leg. Snap the ball. Silent snap. That's kind of cool, right? You think?
No.
While playing on center of the University of Pennsylvania football team in 1889, John Heisman was tricked when a defender scratched his leg, which he then snapped the ball and created a fumble. The solution that Heisman came up with was for the quarterback to say the word hike instead, so that everyone knew that the ball was beginning to play. The word hike means to pull or raise with a sudden motion, which fits the usage.
Like hike up your pant legs and
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Interesting.
All right.
That's a Barry Shuck idiom. You guys could follow him. They're all over the place. Dogsbynature.com.
The guy's football knowledge is all over the place. It's awesome.
He said he's got a lot of them, and I'm always for hearing them because they're fun.
The funny thing is, I don't even. It's football is so ingrained in us in America that like when you say like where does hike come from? It comes from football. Like I forget that there's even like a time when they had to add that to the game because it's just so. Yeah, you're probably like a 2-year-old and you learn to do like hike and snap the ball to your dad.
You're going on a hike or you're snapping a ball to somebody. That's the only two.
So when he says some of these, like, how did these end up being yards? I'm like, I don't know. It just always has been. Like,
right.
Let me call Barry. He'll know the answer.
Okay.
Dude, I called him.
Let's close this out. So we went through this list. We ended up with our areas of weakness. Let me know if what you guys think. So we have our areas of weakness. The 3 areas where we absolutely like agreed that we need to go into the season with like a starting level player is obviously quarterback, running back, which could be as simple as Nick Chubb, and then tackle.
Left tackle, predominantly.
Yeah, left tackle. I can clarify. And then
Thank you. That
area
helped.
And then the area, because we'll probably do this later, because after free agency, we'll keep to this. So then our areas of weakness where we need to add like either more talent to compete or just depth is wide receiver, where I think we need more depth or talent. Could be either. Tight end, we definitely need more depth. Line, we need more depth. And safety, we probably need depth or talent, like either deeper players or somebody that can compete with Thornhill, one of the two. So is that how we ended up?
Yeah.
You have to. Those are the
that's what we're going into free agency where we need some extra people behind what we have at wide receiver, tight end, defensive line, and safety, and we actually need starting level players at running back, quarterback, left tackle. The reason I think this is important is there are definitely teams in the NFL picking where we pick who need starters at 7 different positions. They don't have 3 starting quarterbacks. They don't have 2 starting safeties. They don't have 5 starting linemen. Like that's, I think, the difference with people having to realize that, yes, the Browns stunk last year. That season was awful. They're picking second because they earned second by being so putrid. However, other teams picking in that like top 5, 6, 7 area may need a whole lot more than we need. And that's just worth keeping in your head when I think there's some teams that underperformed also, but like you look at their teams might be picking even behind the Browns that probably need more players than the Browns need to go out there and compete.
And also,
some people won't agree with me, but that's just where I'm at.
Yeah, free agency starts March 13th. So we're less than a month away from free agency. And that's when things are going to start to change a lot. You're going to see a lot happening, and we're going to be here to report it. So make sure you follow us, hit that like, subscribe button, and follow us because we're going to be here for all the fun news that the Cleveland Browns are going to disappoint again this year. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
I meant to leave that part out.
I mean, I think we can talk about this roster all we want. I think it comes down to how are the Cleveland Browns going to be average and competitive, 500-ish? Are they going to be bad, or are they going to be like a playoff contender? And I don't think any of us see any world where they're like a Super Bowl contender coming off this season. But they could be any of those 3, in my opinion, next year. And it all comes down to that first need. If they find a way to fill the quarterback position, and depending how they do it and whether that guy works out, that is a massive, whether it's a trade, which I think will be very hard to do with our current salary structure and the fact that we need so many draft picks for the amount that we've missed. Trade seems unlikely, even though fans are all over the board. They think we should definitely trade for everybody. But I think free agency, there's a legitimate list of guys we'll get into in a future show who can come in and play starting quarterback and be pretty okay in this offense. And for me, that would be a big boost. People will kill me for saying this. They always do. Like, you shouldn't want to be okay. You should want to compete for a Super Bowl. Sometimes that's not possible. So the best thing to do is either be terrible and draft a quarterback or be okay and continue to create culture and wins and fill in your quarterback when you get a chance, or they can be bad because they could bring in somebody like people want Justin Fields. That could not work out. They could get Sam Darnold and he could turn back into a pumpkin. They could draft Cam Ward and he might be an absolute nightmare as a rookie. Like, there's so many ways it could go, but I do think all of us would agree this team is only going as far as the quarterback position takes them next year. They have the roster to compete, and with all the draft picks and free agency still coming, if they can put somebody in that place.
Just like Sam said, a lot of these things fall on the fall on these draft picks, trades, and free agents. Yes, I agree. There's going to be a lot of things happening, and again, like Chad just said, the quarterback. You have to have a quarterback to be able to throw to the wide receivers to make a big play happen. That's what we're going to be known for. That's what we have to do. Also, the running game has to step up again, and there's going to be a lot. After March 13th is when the show's going to start getting really steady again, and we're going to have more and more news coming out every day. Folks, we also are going to have a big announcement here soon. I posted something on my private page, so some people like James Frank might know. Sam is a part of the show, so he already knows he's going to be a part of that show. And since Chad is in California, he will not be. Oh, he might be. I might be able to add you.
Depending
It's a
on
Saturday.
the time, it'll be a Saturday, but probably later Saturday, depending on the time. You can
Yes.
probably video call in.
Once
if
we get some
Streamlabs
more,
decides to work.
once we get some more information, we're going to make the big announcement, and it's going to be fun. Might be some
Interesting.
Browns players there as well, so we will see. But until then, we will see you guys Saturday, 10 a.m. sharp, EST for all you Westerners.
Westerners.
We will be here, me, Angel, and Sam, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock.
It'll be maybe a Baker Bro show.
Yeah, I'll tell you more on that, Chad. The
Yeah.
Baker Bro show.
Baker Bro show.
Yeah.
I might need
Right.
I might need you to actually just mail me your.
I'm
Yes.
gonna have to get this
Can
headband.
I borrow that?
I gotta warn you. I have a very small head, like small helmet on the football team. Like, find it. That's the only one that's gonna fit me head. And I have a hunch nobody else on this podcast has a head quite that small.
I got a
So,
giant head.
and it's tight on me. It's gonna strangle you, but I can ship it.
Not in a good way. I have a giant head. Like, this sucks.
Yeah, I have a small head. I always have to take
hi,
the
Angel.
hat down.
But yeah, join us Saturday. We'll talk some Baker stuff that you guys are going to be thoroughly interested in, I believe. And it's not him coming back to Cleveland at all. It's none of that. We're trying to go back into some years and bring up some stuff that you guys will be interested in. It's going to be a fun show. But yeah, Chad, I'll text you more about the other thing. And if you could join that, that'd be awesome.
Sounds good.
We'll figure that out. Till then, we'll see you guys Saturday. Thank you for joining us. That's not